MMediocre, you know? Like, like just like
Episode
on
3.
episode 3, still consistently have a messy office. Hasn't changed.
But that means it's only 3 weeks of a messy office. But
Oh, that makes me
how
feel
where you were, how long it's been messy. But
been messy since I'm gonna out myself here. I mean, it's not like dirty, it's messy, right? It's just like got boxes that I haven't put away since September of last year.
our house flooded.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. The house flooded, things got packed up, and I unpacked my books and stuff on the shelves, but then like there's some other stuff that got packed up and it's still in boxes.
Well, I mean, we're between two houses. I still have stuff at the other house. My mom stopped at that house
hmm
yesterday.
hmm
She said the grass at that house is pretty high. We are going to have to figure that out. That's what we're going to do.
Uh-huh.
It probably looks abandoned at this point. There's still a
Exactly what
hole.
you don't want it to look like, essentially.
No, like you don't want it to look abandoned. We still have stuff in it. Like I still have stuff in that house that I have not gotten out. But it's because we moved, right? Like right around Christmas. Then we had that horrible winter. There was no moving then. And then this house, we bought the money pit. So it's what you do. You take on the money pit. When it rains outside, it rains inside. So that is what we are currently dealing with. But it is so much trauma that I would prefer not to unpack that on
Oh,
the
you don't have a trauma dump right here? That's a
just
shame.
I
I
have
was
a
hoping we would
breakdown.
really get into that.
Yeah,
We
just
normally do on our other work calls.
yeah.
Guys, we have a little bit of a penchant for trauma dumping on this one person that we work with.
Rick,
Rick, he's so patient.
this is the test if he really watches these because
Yeah, okay. So guys, this is the test. Does Rick actually watch these videos like he claims to?
yeah, we'll know
We
because
will know.
we do trauma dump on him and
He handles it very classily.
he
Is that
does, but you can tell in his eyes there's some fear of like I don't know what to do with these women.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess that's hormones will rage and all that.
Yeah, yeah, he's not sure what to do with us.
No, but I mean, I'm not sure what to do with me either. So it's the female cycle for you, everyone. We are a different person every day of the month.
True. But like the journey of writing and publishing books is a roller coaster. A lot of people
Mhm.
don't talk about that.
No, they don't. And
I mean,
you're gonna ride some waves, get your boogie board out
there are highs and lows.
like I did as a kid in Myrtle Beach.
We all went to Myrtle Beach back then.
That was the place.
That was the place.
Yeah. Riding the waves. But I mean, that's the biz, baby.
Why do you think there's so many highs and lows with publishing?
I know exactly why there is. Look, I'm going to sound like I'm smart.
I'm impressed.
Okay. So there are so many highs and lows in publishing because it is the least steady career. Well, okay, I'm not going to say least. That's like so short-sighted. I'm sure there are more. But it's not steady state as a career because it depends on market trends. So I suppose this would be the same in like music, movies, anything entertainment value because it's like anything that is based on public consumption is an ever changing place.
Mm-hmm.
And when something changes that much and you have to change that much, I think your whole being is strapped to the coaster.
It is a coaster, and so there's two layers to it actually, because that's definitely one of them.
Mhm.
Is just trying to navigate the publishing market, whether you're indie or trade, both have their obstacles and challenges, which
For
we are
sure.
learning as we started indie, we've gone trade with some books. And there are ups and downs with both.
Yeah.
But also just the writing of a book is a roller coaster.
My gosh. That's the best roller coaster because I like if I were gonna let you in, you the viewer, on any secret, it's that everyone who writes a book, I've not met anyone yet. I'm sure maybe there's an exception to the rule, but I've not met them. Goes through so many phases of life when writing a book of like the high of this is
The
the most
idea,
amazing, the idea,
uh,
and then you start writing it and there's a crash out because you're like, this is a, what am I doing? How do I write a book? How do I put people on paper and make them seem like people? And
yeah,
I and like put this together. This is oh my God. Then you get to like a mid-range where you start to go, no, this is coming together. This is pretty good. I like this story. Like it's this is something.
yeah.
And then another crash out comes of like, wait, none of this is right. I have a bunch of holes. I don't like what am I supposed to do with this? And you fully crash out of like this is terrible. I read it yesterday and thought it was good, and now I'm reading it and I'm like, the F is this? And then, by the time you get to the end, you should think it's a good book again. You
Yes.
just also like then that's when the imposter syndrome of like, are people gonna like this comes in.
Once it's ready, and then you're getting ready to put it out into the world, whether it's release day or it's sending out arcs to early reviewers, you do have a moment of being like, oh, so people are going to read that now.
People are reading this.
Now, 10 years of writing books together, I do think when it comes to the when it releases, right? Or we send it out and people are starting to read it. That's gotten easier. Um, and I don't know if it's because the confidence in our writing and what we're publishing is really, there. So we're just like, this is the story. That's how we felt like the last several books, like this is the story. We feel like we have, executed it in the best way possible. And so there's going to be people who love it, and then there's going to be people who don't, and that's how it goes because reading is very subjective.
Yeah, part of it is just knowing that you're not for everyone and you're not gonna be for everyone. And but being pretty confident that the people you're for, this is what they deserve. And I think that comes from how much we put into a book. So generally, by the time we're sharing it with people, it's like we are 100% confident that it's a good book. Um,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean you're still not crashing out inside a little bit of like this personal
Well,
thing.
because then it's like the whole time you have the book in your possession before you release it out to the world, it's still in your control. Even when you're creating your marketing plan, you're starting to hype it, all of that, it's still in your control. And there is a moment when you push it out into the world that you realize it's no longer in my control. It is completely now the readers. Like it's not mine anymore. It's now theirs.
Yeah.
That is sometimes that's a little rough. I
It,
think I have the roughest time with that with a book that has a lot of emotion where I feel like, it's got a lot of emotional depth and we've really poured a lot of ourselves into it, like what I should have said and then when I should have stayed, which is going to release in July. I'm sure like those are harder for me because I feel like they come from such a deep place rather than a rom-com where we're just writing a fun, flirty rom-com. Like, yeah, that's a part of us. But it like yeah, the books that take us through the ringer while we're writing it, And then you're like, here you go. It feels like you're giving away your child. Like, here.
It does. It's scary for sure.
Yeah.
It's a fun experience that um is also, terrifying beyond words.
It is the most exciting and terrifying thing at the same time.
As an aside, also, I kept putting my hand over here for some reason and then it would blur it. And I'm like, it looks like I'm just like flipping you off all the time and it's like censored.
I didn't even notice it.
Yeah, I had my
There's
hand here
some
a couple times
screenshots of
and it
that.
blurred it like a few times. And I'm like, yeah, wait, it was started to go. It looks like it's just censoring me flipping you off.
Oh,
You're like pouring your heart out over there about the trials, the tribulations, the ups and downs of this career, and I'm over here giving you the finger.
reminds me when I was a little girl and I learned the power of the middle finger. I was
Uh-huh.
probably 6.
Uh-huh.
I can remember my parents telling me, I saw my dad flip somebody off while we were driving, right? Like through the air. And my dad then realized after his anger calmed down, who knows what happened, but he's like, that you are not supposed to give people the middle finger. That's not nice.
It's very powerful.
This is powerful, this middle finger thing. So I started where I had an older sister and when we were kids, she wasn't very nice to me when we were kids. I love her dearly. Um,
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure, sure.
I love her dearly. We are close now, but we had a 7-year age gap and I was just the annoying little sister to her. So I would flip her off behind my hand. And one time I really wanted to test how powerful this was. So we were at a gas station. I'm in the back seat. I am almost positive my mom had an Escort, a Ford Escort, 4-door, like from the 90s, right? And my
Uh-huh.
mom was pumping gas, and there was a man who I could see from my window. And the man was doing nothing besides pumping his gas. And I just slowly just flipped him off. And I can still picture his face. It was like he had no idea what did this little 6-year-old girl. I just flipped him off. And I
He's like thinking, ma'am, your daughter maybe is showing signs of being a sociopath.
know, I just flipped him off. I had to test it. I had to test it. That was the thing. Like, if you tell me you shouldn't do this, and I sense that there's the reason you're telling me not to do this because the power behind the action, like, I want to know what that power feels like. I did that with 911. My dad said, do not call 911. Whatever you do, don't call 911 unless it's an emergency. And they had to sit me down because I really got interested in like how, I think they taught me in preschool how to dial 911. And I'm
Hmm.
like, I want to test this out. And my dad's like, we only do that for emergencies. That's there's an emergency, and they had to explain to me what would constitute that. But I remember the one time, and my dad was a police officer and he was getting ready for work. He worked second shift. And I remember the one time I just couldn't. I went over that phone and I dialed 911. And then I and then I heard the operator like 911, what's your emergency? And my heart started pounding. I hung up the phone and I ran into my room. And then the phone rang because they called back, right? Because something could be going on. And I heard my dad like, no, I didn't call 911. And then they knew it was me that called it. He's like,
Oh my
yelled
gosh.
for me from his bedroom, get in here. And I'm like, oh,
Like, what's that like? Because I am the opposite
oh,
personality of if it has even a touch of danger or controversy or like conflict, I am running from it. I
funny.
am like, oh. Yeah, if they say don't dial 911, I'm the one who's like scared to dial it when like a head is bleeding, you know?
They told me
Like
not to do it.
they
Yeah.
said don't do it, you know?
Oh, my
What's gonna happen? I'm gonna go to jail. They're gonna this is, I mean, this bleeds into your whole life, right? This becomes the woman at the airport who's like, they're like got the drug dogs, and I'm like, did I accidentally pack my drugs? Never seen a drug, never done one, never seen one, never been tempted by
yeah.
a drug. But I'm like, do I accidentally have them in my pocket?
Is this the time I'm gonna get?
Is this the time I bought a pair of pants and like I know you're not supposed to do this, but sometimes I don't wash new clothes. I just put them on.
I do that
I
too.
know everybody says that's so nasty. Don't do that. I've seen it, okay? But your clothes are never in as pristine a state.
Is when you get them from the
That's if you get
store.
them. They're not wrinkled. They're ready to be worn, okay? I take the tag off and I put them on. So anyway, that's like if I'm wearing my new clothes to the airport, I'm like, did somebody
What
put
if
drugs?
what if somebody put their cocaine in the pocket of these jeans?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's me. Scared. Scared.
I mean, I'm a mix of it. I think as a child, impulse control, if it was like, it wasn't everything, but if it was something would just get in my mind
Mm.
and I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I
I
just
love that.
had to try it.
I've
Like,
always been an 80-year-old woman, like even when I was 6, I was 80. So,
well, here's something that I did. My mom had to stop sending me. I used to love eating baby carrots, and my mom had to stop sending those to school because I think this was when I first started. It's an intrusive thought, but I followed through on it.
oh no.
I can remember sitting at lunch. I mean, I am little, like elementary school, maybe first or second grade, and I'm eating my baby carrots, and I just thought maybe I'd seen like a movie with a food fight or something, and I just thought, what would happen if I just took this carrot and just threw it? And I did. Then I don't know where the carrot went, but then I put my carrots back in the bag, and then a teacher was coming around. I did it like I had my friends around me at the table. Nobody even knew that I did it. It was that quick. It was like it got in my brain, and I'm like, I'm gonna throw this carrot. And I just threw it. And the teacher came around and was like, did somebody throw this carrot?
Not me.
I don't know. So my mom had to stop. Eventually, I was found out, and my mom had to stop sending me to school with baby carrots.
They did an investigation. There was a whole fingerprinting thing, and you were found.
I was found out. Um, who knows why? It was only baby carrots that I had that impulse with, and maybe because I got away with it one time. It's not like I was throwing it at another kid. I was just throwing it across the cafeteria. It was going near where the cafeteria ladies were sitting, which is probably how I was found out. So, luckily, in adulthood, I don't do that stuff now. I learned impulse control. Like you can't just throw
Good. I feel like that's really good because as an adult, your impulses are generally like worse than throwing carrots
no, they're not as innocent, right? Yeah.
to get you in some hot water.
Yeah, that reminds me of those TikTok videos where I don't, there was a trend where people were pretending to drive and they would, because they didn't want to go to work and they're like,
Yes. My first thought about impulses as an adult is okay, because I'm sure most of us have been here. You don't do them. Don't nobody do them. But
yeah,
the wreck, the driving off the road.
yes, don't do that.
Like just a random thought. And for me, I haven't had one of these in a long time, by the way. But you get like this thought of like if I just like threw myself down the stairs or something like to injure yourself where you'd get arrest at the hospital. Like have you I know you've thought it. Maybe not exactly the same, but like I would just like maybe I'd get like a
Like
little.
could I do this? The injuries are minimal but require hospitalization. And then I have
Yes.
to be in the hospital for a few
Yes.
to rest.
To rest. Like you rest in the
Broken wrist or something.
I know. Anything that you're actually like resting from, they would send you home immediately.
Well, that's what I mean. You'd go home with a casted leg and then
Yeah. Still have to do everything, but it'd be harder. I know. And I think that's what stops us, you
you're
know?
like, that's not gonna I think the highest period of intrusive thoughts that it's always postpartum after
Oh,
baby. Oh, those are horrible.
that's because like that's a time, that's like a hormonal crash out. That's why, that's why there's a thing with postpartum. You really have to watch yourself. And I mean, the doctor does a questionnaire.
I know. Like, I think my intrusive thoughts with when I had Gloria, I don't really remember. I think they were similar with Sid. It was always like crazy stuff. Um, if I'm walking up steps in our old house, there was like a landing that had like,
Mhm,
a railing and stuff that's kind of high up and it's
mhm,
just opened to where you look down and that's the entry, the front door and the foyer. And then the steps go down this way. And
mhm.
I'd be carrying her downstairs like in the morning and I would think, what if I just fell and I threw her over? Like, like that makes no sense, right? Like that makes no sense, but it would.
Like you're sensing a danger of like,
I'm
what if this
sensing a
were to
danger.
happen?
So that's what my intrusive thoughts would be busy with is like the dangers because I guess your brain is like this is such a vulnerable little person. We gotta
Yeah.
protect her at all costs. So then you're identifying situations that aren't even necessarily physically possible. Like if you fall, you're not gonna launch your baby over the ramp. You're both gonna fall, you know?
I mean, obviously you're gonna try to save yourself and you're gonna throw the thing that would stop you from
Oh, so I would find myself where when I would go I'm like going to go downstairs and I'm at the landing and I would turn my back to the landing and I'm holding her. And then I take the stairs down. Like that's how bad sometimes those intrusive thoughts would hit. And I'm like, I am not going to fall and launch this baby over the.
it's a hard time. And I mean, because the hormones are trying to even out from like such a huge change. And I mean, I it makes sense because the hormones that just come with like your just like the normal female cycle are
You're rough.
it's
Yeah. You're rough.
it's why there's like a whole section of social media that talks about like thought I hated my husband and then like just realized I was starting my period. Like because
I want
like we
a
all
divorce.
forget.
But I don't want a divorce.
Yeah.
I started my period the next day. I'm actually
Yeah.
in love with him. Yeah, like
Yeah.
that hormone cycle, and it is rough. It's rough monthly. It depends on the month for me,
Mhm.
but it's really rough after you have a baby.
Yeah, well, and not good news for us. Everything I hear about perimenopause and menopause is like, I'd rather be hung. Like it's like how like that's what it's getting down to. Like,
I,
let's go back to olden times, when there was like what's the thing that falls? You
uh,
know what I'm talking about.
yes, a
Uh,
guillotine.
Yes. Let's go back to olden times. Like that's how people talk about perimenopause. So I'm a little,
Just
worried about that,
up,
but
line us up when we're hitting perimenopause. Just end it. Just end it.
drop the blade. I mean, I honestly, from talking to these women who are either going through it or have just gone through it or whatever, because we've talked to quite a few. We're getting in that age range anyway that like it's happening.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think they'd prefer that. They would line up.
I mean, we know people that have talked about how terrible it is.
Yes.
And I'm like, I just hope that's a you thing. Like I'm very, I'm even empathetic towards what
Yeah.
I did.
I'm so
Because
in your corner, but I
yeah,
hope that's a you
I
problem and
hope that's a you problem and not a me problem because it's making you sound psychotic, which makes me feel like I don't want to be like that.
yeah. And you know what? You shouldn't feel bad that we're saying we're hoping it's a you problem because we do that to ourselves very much with future us. We are really good at saying that's a future us problem.
Oh yeah, future me is like this
Future me is mad at past
can't
me
do
all the time.
anything. Anything? That's future me hates present me.
Yeah,
Hates present me.
same.
I am like, you know what? I am gonna task that for next week.
Yeah,
When I
yeah.
should have just done it. You caught me doing that. We were on the phone and I'm like, I'm gonna put a task. Okay, I'm gonna put a task for this email. I try to do it like 3 times in a row. You're good. No, let's just send it. I'm in there. I'm gonna send the email. And then I did it again, and then I did it again. You were like, no, cut the we're not doing this. Task stuff. It takes more time to make the task than it does to just send the email. What is that? Like you get it's that, what do they call it? The impossible task.
Yes.
Apparently that day I had 3 or 4 of them, but
You did, but it's
like,
not I'm not a perfect. The only reason that I was there to, reorient you on it is because I've been really working on myself to not do the same thing. It's like I can never remember who it is. Is it Marie Kondo? It might be somebody else who says like don't put it down, put it away. Whoever says that. I
I'm
don't
gonna
know who.
Google this. You keep going.
Okay. So I've been trying to like do that practice. I mean, not in my house because I'm still not good at that, but the in work, like I'll be like, okay, an email comes in and I'm like, oh, I could do this later, but instead I'm like, no, just do it now. Just send the email instead of like tasking the email or
Yeah.
do the task instead of saying you're going to do the task later. Like just do it right then. So I've been really working on that. Um,
Which
and
is
I
great for you and for me that you're working on that because then that makes me have to work on it. I don't know who said it because a lot of people are stealing it.
Oh, well, that does happen. So the
Um,
other person that's influencing me lately is she's on TikTok. I'm gonna never remember her name. Oh, I hate that. Obviously, I don't remember anyone's name. This is becoming a trend. Um, but someone on TikTok told me that's the thing in perimenopause just the other day. So
we
probably
believe anything they tell us on TikTok.
we do. But this is the lady who has started doing TikToks about how long things really take, like her
Oh
tasks.
yeah. I know that lady.
Who's
Don't
been
know her
putting
name.
things off. And it's like, how long does it take me to, clean out my junk drawer? Like, and I haven't done it in 3 years. I've been putting it off, and then it takes like 11 minutes. And
Yeah.
she has a microphone. That's why I'm doing this. I'm not eating ice cream.
How long does it take me to eat this ice cream cone? That's the kind of videos I need.
Yeah. So, but that's what I've been trying to work on myself. It's not that I'm good at it. Been trying to work on it.
To like just get the tasks done, which is
Just
smart
do
because
it.
if you then you're just taking stress off your plate. You're just getting it done. It's done.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So, I'll consider working on myself with that taken into consideration.
You'll put that as a task for future
For
you to
me,
consider.
I'll look at that next week. Yeah, I'll look at that next week.
Task to consider working on myself to do things
Yeah,
immediately.
yeah.
Yeah,
Don't
like
put it down, put it away. I'll put
yeah,
that consider this mindset. That's what I'll do. But I don't know who said it. It probably is Marie Kondo or
I have no idea. Well, that's probably why I don't know because everybody keeps stealing it, and then who's the actual source? I don't know.
no. I don't know. They didn't say who
Could be somebody from like BC at this point, and we've just been ripping it off for years. I don't know.
Jesus said it.
Jesus said it.
Don't put it down, put it away.
I'm pretty sure that's accurate. Yeah.
It's probably Yeah, I don't know. All these organization companies.
You know what? I know who it was, actually. It
Oh,
was Mary because she was the mother.
it was Mary, the
It was
Virgin.
Mary.
Yeah,
So that's actually who it was.
solved it.
Don't put it down. Put it
Yeah,
away.
yeah, perfect. Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad we got that solved.
Me too, man. Marie, Mary, we were close from
We
the
were
from
very close. And I'm sure you can find a TikTok video that backs up what you just said, that it was.
I'm sure I can. Yeah. Yeah.
So we will link that in the info section
Something.
of the video. Whatever YouTube calls that. The caption.
Whatever it's called, it'll be in there, except it'll be a future us task, so it actually probably won't be in there.
Oh, man, I'll forget it completely. I'd have to task it right now to remember it. You see me picking my phone up? I don't.
I didn't see it.
Yeah. I was going to, we were talking about publishing and writing. We've had a lot of people are always curious how we write books together.
Mhm.
And we are curious too, how we,
We would like to know how we do it.
yeah, we wish that we had some kind of like 10-step process and this is how we do it, but we don't have a process. Well, there's some
I mean,
steps, right? The things that are constants, we brainstorm the book together. Usually it's like we're in conversation right now. The hope is that somebody has a notebook or a doc pulled up that they're taking notes because otherwise, forget about it. So
mhm.
brainstorm together. And then the
I
middle
thought
is
I'm sorry. The thing
right.
I thought you were gonna say was that the hope is that somebody has a good idea. Sorry. Continue.
We have too many ideas. That's our, if we would let ourselves, we get ideas while we're working on a project and we say, like, if I get an idea, I know at this point, I make a note of it and I walk away from it because if I would talk to you about it, then we are in a brainstorming session on a book that we cannot write in that moment, which is the most frustrating thing for us.
Mhm.
We are
It's no.
we are mood writers. We like to brainstorm the book right before we write it because there's this spark of creativity that really motivates us.
Mhm.
So the brainstorming, that's pretty consistent. We don't really have huge plot outlines unless it's a very complicated plot.
Mhm.
We prefer it to be loose, possible,
I'm sorry. I just
because I said
I
loose.
was already thinking because you said we're mood writers, and I think you saw my TikTok about my
About your
husband.
husband thinking I said nude writer.
Writers. Yeah. And then now you're saying we're loose. So I'm like, oh my God.
We're nude and loose, and that is how we write books.
That's how we roll.
Yes, that's how I'm trying to be serious, and you are
I
just
know. I'm sorry.
the train, and you're like, nope, derail it.
I know you are. You're trying to be serious, and I love that.
You should, because this happens very seldom, not often. But if you look, this is our process. We brainstorm naked, we write naked, we revise. We are not loose, but our plot is loose because we like room to be creative in the
Mhm.
nude while writing. Is that
Yeah, it's great. I think you really summed it up.
okay? Back to what I was actually saying.
Yes, please be serious.
Okay, the middle is gray. It depends on our mood, how we write the book. We've done it all kinds of ways where we pass it back and forth every couple thousand words. Write, I write a chapter, you write a chapter. One writes the front, one writes the back half. We've done it every way you can think of. It depends on the book, and somehow we're always on the same vibe of how we want to write it.
Hmm. Front door, back door, all the everywhere.
Yes. This book, I have the back door. Uh, you have the front door.
I'm done, I swear. I swear I'll be good now. I'll be good.
And then when we revise it, we both are in all the words.
Mhm.
So one person kind of takes the lead and the other person follows behind them. And that is how we do it. I was trying to, like, here's point A and point B. And I was just going to quick stop. I was going to take us straight there, point A to point B, all aboard, and we're here.
I had an intrusive thought in the car and we swerved, I mean,
Right. That's like when I'm trying to book a flight, right? And like Cincinnati to Kansas City. You'd think shouldn't be long. And then I see my flight options and it's like Cincinnati to LA to Kansas City. Why why would I want to do that to myself? Why?
Cincinnati, Dubai, Kansas City. Like, why would I do that? That is pretty much the options
I
they
mean,
give.
might as well just drive there. So that's what you just did with the
I'm
back
sorry.
door, front door, loose, nude. Could you have dropped any more? How many more you want to drop?
I mean, let's just blame my husband for starting this whole line of thought altogether.
Yeah. Now, I'm going there. Have we ever written backdoor in a romance book?
Ooh, I don't think full on. Just like a little peasy poo, you know?
Like just the tip or just
Like
a
like
mouth play?
like play. I think. I don't even know what YouTube allows at this point, but we're in it.
I don't either. Might be the last episode. We're about to find out.
Yeah.
Or if I when I'm editing this, do I take it out or not? I don't know. That's going to be a future me thing.
The game time
However,
decision for
do it.
future you.
Yeah. Will she remember? Probably not.
Probably
So,
not.
yeah, I don't think we've written that in a romance book.
No, I think just, flirted with it, but not really.
Are we going to change that?
I don't know. I feel like there's so many ways it can go wrong in writing.
That scene, that type of scene?
In writing, like I feel like you can really say the wrong thing or, crash land something.
I think it's because I think we could navigate it, first of all. But I think a lot of our readers would be like, what? How did we get here? You know,
Possible. Uh-huh.
like I think we write great spice in our books. I think that for sure.
Mhm.
But our books are not like super spice focused, where that's what's guiding the book.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. It would have to be the right circumstance.
Yeah.
Our books recently have not had the right
Oh.
circumstance for just a simple little backdoor scene.
I'll be honest with you. This book we're writing could have one of those.
Maybe. Maybe. Yeah. It's a possibility.
Do you know where I think it would go? It is not in the present or the past. It's in the manuscript.
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. I know what it is. Yeah. Which, yeah, it's definitely a possibility.
So that conversation that we just had, you are to blame. So I'm just putting that out there.
You
What
know, I mean,
spiciest book is? What do you think our spiciest book is?
oh, something in the Winslow brothers?
The Bed's pretty spicy.
Yeah,
Tapping the Billionaire is pretty spicy. Our
it
friend,
is. Uh-huh, in a different way, but it's definitely spicy.
Banking the Billionaire is spicy.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Let me look at these books. The Pact is.
All the Winslow brothers are pretty spicy.
The Secret is too, because I just
Yeah.
thought about the scene. So he's professor, she's the TA. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought about the no touch scene in his classroom, and she's sitting on the desk, and
Hmm.
he just picks up a pen,
Hmm.
and that's how he,
Hmm.
like, I think that's the type of spice we like, is where it's really creative, where you're building up the tension,
Hmm.
like a creative way of doing that, and not just the typical wham bam, thank you, ma'am. You
I
know,
agree.
put on your pants, let's do this kind of thing.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
think we prefer those scenes when it's like super angsty, enemies to lovers, and they just like collide. We like those type of, we're doing it.
we're doing it.
We're going
Yeah,
all the way in.
yeah.
What'd you say?
I said I would agree with that.
Okay.
But I was also scratching and then made me look like Quasimodo, I think. I'm not sure, but
How long have we been on this?
I don't know. I mean,
I don't know either. Thankfully, Zoom, like we edit out the long pauses. So we can just sit here and not say anything for a little bit.
that's good.
Or, is there anything in particular we wanted to talk about
Hmm.
today that we've really hit the gamut.
Oh, we've been everywhere. Draw a map because you're gonna need it for this one.
Yeah, perimenopause to intrusive thoughts to backdoor action.
To writing strategy
Yeah,
technique,
serious writing strategies.
the
If
highs and
you,
lows of this career.
yeah,
We've really been everywhere.
this chat actually feels like the highs and lows of this career. It is a perfect metaphor.
We
Yeah,
strapped you in with us. Yeah.
yeah. If
Yeah.
you could give one piece of advice for a new writer who has not published a book yet, who's struggling to write a book,
Ooh. Okay, so like they're struggling with the writing portion of it.
what would you tell them?
Just keep writing. I know that sounds like so cheap, as far as advice goes, but I mean it in the way of don't overly criticize yourself out of putting words on a page.
Mhm.
Just put words on a page. They could be terrible. They might be. I'll be honest. Because like sometimes the first draft of something is not pretty, but
Mhm.
that's okay. That's like at least you're putting something down. And I personally find it 20 times easier to revise to I think it was Judy Bloom who said that she wasn't a great writer, she was a great rewriter.
Mhm.
I believe it was Judy Bloom. Again, I'm just making things up, but I'm pretty sure it was her. And I believe that 100% is that the first draft is not necessarily going to be the best thing you've ever seen, but
No.
it's easier to work with words that are there.
Yeah,
So get words there.
I completely agree. That would be my advice too. Like your first draft is going to be crap. That's what it's going to feel like because you're just really getting the bones of the story down. Now you're going to have sparks in there of which is
Well,
probably when people are struggling on writing a book, like they've started and they've most likely hit the scenes that they like perfectly envisioned, maybe the scenes that actually inspired them to sit down and write the book.
mhm,
And then they get past those scenes, and it's the other scenes that involve character building and world building. And it's like sometimes you feel stuck, but you know what should be there. It's just you don't feel creative in writing that particular chapter. And in reality, you should just force yourself to write it. You can revise it and make it what it needs to be. And truthfully, once you have all the pieces together, and some are going to have those gorgeous sparks of like, this chapter is almost, it's pretty good. I only have a little bit to revise. Then you're going to have those chapters that need a lot of revisions, but you're going to be able to flow through it then because it's all there. You have a book. You've
yeah.
hit the end. And then you
Mhm,
can use that as motivation when you go back and revise. And you're also just going to have a better feel for your characters because you're going to have seen their whole journey and now you get to perfect it.
mhm.
Yeah, I mean we know authors who don't write that way, who definitely write one chapter at a time, chronological order, and they by the time they reach the end, they don't really need to go back and revise.
Yeah. They do a beautiful job. They do it differently than we do it.
But that's not how we do it. We tend to get the first draft down. There's going to be chapters that are perfect. Then there's going to be chapters that need work. But we get the book down. We get the at least the bones of the story down, and then we go in and perfect it.
Mhm,
That's how we do it. And I wonder sometimes if people that are struggling to finish a book, they feel like they have writer's block.
mhm.
If it's that, because if you, especially if you're seeing other writers talk about they write in chronological order and they
Hmm.
don't do a lot of revisions that might make you feel like I need to
You're
write in
supposed to be getting
chronological
it
order.
right.
Yeah. And sometimes it's not, we
Sometimes you
know
don't,
that work doesn't work that way.
yeah, sometimes you don't get it right the first time, and sometimes you can write a scene that's completely not the next scene, but
Mhm.
you can write it really well if you let yourself.
Yeah, if you let yourself write it in the moment that you're feeling it, that when you're thinking about scenes to write or scenes in the book and you're like, oh, I can't wait to write that scene, that most likely should be the scene you write.
Hmm.
We've found that at least for sure.
So I hope that gives someone permission just to know that like it's not done in
Mm.
one way. Do
No.
it in the way that works for you.
Yeah. Then we get a first draft down, then we revise the hell out of it. Now there are books that that's not the case. We've had
Mhm.
books where the first draft was pretty on
Pretty
point.
close. Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it just depends on the book.
It
Truthfully.
depends.
So just get the first draft down. That would be
Mhm.
my advice.
Mhm.
Don't worry about if it's good or not yet. Okay, well, now that we ended it on a serious note, we probably should, I mean, we should end it on a serious professional note instead of backdoor action.
Mm.
Feels like a good professional place to end it on. If,
Yeah,
yeah, if you're currently in the process of writing a book, you can do it. Keep writing.
we believe in you.
Yeah, have yourself do little word sprints where you set a timer on your phone for 30 minutes and just write. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You'll be able to revise it.
Hmm.
So, yeah. Do you believe in writer's block? I did want to ask you that because I thought of that question. Do you think writer's block is a thing?
Yes, but not for me.
I feel the same way.
Writer's block for me is an excuse.
Well, okay, I've,
It's not that you don't have a moment. Sometimes I am not creatively there,
mhm.
but what gets me there the fastest is forcing myself through it. Now, I maybe won't get the whole thing done or get done as much as I would if I wasn't struggling. That is for sure.
Mhm.
But for me, the moment of block just means um I need to force it.
That's why we set deadlines. If we didn't set any deadlines, we would not get a book done. Like there's times we have to move a deadline. We've done that before.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. And I wouldn't mind if we had a little more time for our deadlines sometimes.
but like we still need a deadline.
We
If
need pressure still. Even if it's a ways out, we need something.
yeah, because if we have no deadline, it won't get done. We have to have a deadline. That's what holds us to it.
Yeah.
And sometimes that means we wasted all the time and then we are grinding for like a month, which
Mhm.
is whatever. But my other thought with writer's block, I agree with you that
I
some,
think it exists. I don't
I
think
think
it's
it
like a myth.
exists. And
I think
sometimes
it
you need to just force it, right? Set a deadline and just force it. And that's where the method of just get the first draft down and then go back and revise it. Because you're going to be revitalized once you have that first draft done, even if you're like, ugh, need some work, but like I've got a story here, you know? My other thought is there are times, and we both have had this, where it's not writer's block, it's my brain knows something, it's like it's figuring a plot hole out or
Mhm.
something out
It knows
related.
something isn't right. Hmm.
Yes. And so you feel stagnant, but like, and you're not even, it's like subconsciously, your brain is working through it. And then you wake up, it usually lasts like a few days for me. And then
Hmm.
you wake up and you're like, that's what it is. And then I
Hmm.
can get back to working on it.
Yeah.
So that's yeah, we don't, maybe we just don't allow writer's block.
Like I said, it's not that I don't think it exists. I do think it does, but for me personally, it's like my only option is to force my way through it most of the time.
Me too. Okay. I think we can end it here.
I think so too. I have to go get my kids anyway.
Yeah, you do. All right, bye.
Mediocre, you know?